Okay, so welcome back. This is a review. So this is the first assignment technically, okay, that you should have done. Should be for a completion grade. So if you didn't really understand how to do this, then I'm obviously helping you out. So it's very minimal to watch the video and then actually follow along and copy down the sheets and turn them in. All right. So, and if you're a in-person student, give it to me in person. Okay. If you are a virtual student, okay, then you take a picture of it and then email it to me. All right. So number one right here, or the first problem that's on the page. So what you should have done is you should have seen that it's got a parenthesis. And if you remember from last semester, parenthesis is a neon sign that you need to distribute first. All right, so the -5, we're just going to drop down here, and then we're going to distribute the -5 right next to the parenthesis. So -5 times 1 is -5. -5 times 5x is -25x. All right, the left side will just drop down. All right, so now take a step back. Look what you got. You got 2 terms on the left and 3 terms on the right. Remember, the most that you want on each side is 2. All right, so meaning this right side over here that's got the -5, -5, -25, we need to combine like terms. That way we can get it down to 2 terms. We can combine these two right here, the 2 numbers. So -5 and -5 make -10. And then this just drops down. And then again, the left side just drops down. Now we're down to 2 and 2. At this point, we need to get in this problem, they're x's, so we need to get our letter to one side. So if you got 2 choices, this -4 on the left, you can either add it over, okay, or the -25 on the right, you can add it over. I'm going to add the 25 to the other side. That's now gone. So we get -10, drops down on the right. Okay, -4 plus 25 is a positive 21x. And since that -31 is in front of it, I need the plus sign. And then that drops down. Now it's a 2-step problem. Okay, you need to get rid of the -31, so we're going to add it over. All right, so and I'm going to kind of write it over here because we're running out of room. So 21x equals -10 plus 31 is 21. Remember, the last step is pretty much always to divide. X equals 1. All right, next problem. Okay, so kind of the same thing. So you got that parenthesis right there, and that automatically tells you need to distribute. So 8 times k is 8k, 8 times 4 is 32, and then drop down the left side. All right, so now, take a step back, look what you got. You got 2 terms on each side. All right, so that's what you want, maximum of 2 terms on each side. So now all we need to worry about are the letters. Okay, so we've got a positive 7k and a positive 8k. I need to subtract one of those to the other side. I'm going to go ahead and choose to subtract this one. That's now gone. 38 drops down. And then 8 minus 7 is 1k. And then the plus 32 drops down. Now we're down to a 2-step problem. Subtract the 32 to the other side. It leaves us with 1k equals 6. Divide by 1, k equals 6. That's our answer. All right, next one. So right here, we actually start out with just 2 and 2, meaning there's no parenthesis. We don't need to distribute. We've got 2 terms on each side, so we don't need to combine like terms. We can go straight to the letters, okay? We've got a r, which 1 is technically in front of that r, so we can subtract the 1, or we can subtract this positive 4r. I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 1r. All right, that's now gone. This negative 6 drops down. This 6 drops down. 4 minus 1 is a positive 3r. All right, now we're down to a two-step problem. I need to get rid of the positive 6 that's on the same side as the 3r. It's positive, so what I need to do is I need to subtract it. That's now gone. Negative 6 minus 6 is negative 12. And then the last step is pretty much always, not always, but almost always, to divide. R equals negative 4. And remember, you can rewind this video too if I'm going too fast for you. So, all right, so fourth problem right here. We've got a parenthesis. So that, again, that's kind of your neon sign. That's the first thing that you need to do. So this negative 8 will drop down. We need to distribute the 4. So 4 times n is 4n. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Drop down the left side. Take a step back, look at what we got. We've got 2 terms on the left, 3 terms on the right. We do not want 3 terms. Remember, we only want 2. So here we do have to combine like terms. And we can combine the numbers right here. So negative 8, oh, hold on, let me drop down this 4n. Negative 8 plus a negative 12 is negative 20. And then drop down the left side. Now we're down to 2 and 2. Now again, we're going to focus on the letters. So we've got a negative 2 that we can add over, or we've got a positive 4 that we can subtract over. I'm going to go ahead and add this over. So we get 16 equals 4 plus 2 is 6, and then drop down the minus 20. Now we're down to a two-step problem. I need to get rid of the negative 20 by adding it over. So that would be 36 equals 6n. Last step is to divide n equals 6. So there's the first 4 problems at a glance. All right. This next one is super simple because it's just a two-step problem is all it is, all right? Meaning you need to get rid of the 13 first. So we're going to subtract it. So we get 5x equals 35. Last step, divide by 5. X equals 7. Again, you have a parenthesis, so that's kind of your sign, hey, I need to distribute first. So I have a 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 12 is 36. Drop down the left side. Now, you have terms 2 and 2. Now, if you actually look, you don't have 2 letters on each side, or you don't have a letter on both sides of the equal sign. You only have 1 letter, and it's on the left. So on the right side, you actually have 2 numbers. You can actually combine those together. So 12 plus 36 is 48. Drop down this side. Now all you have to do, it's a one-step problem. Add the 10. And you're finished. Y equals 48, or I'm sorry, 58. So that is the review of solve equations. Okay. Next section, identify the slope. Okay. Now, in identifying the slope, remember, okay, y equals mx plus b. This is called slope-intercept form. All right? Why is it called slope-intercept form? Because the m is the slope and the b is the y-intercept. You have a slope and a y-intercept. Hence the term slope-intercept form. All right? You also, and on the other, and I'll kind of box this in a little bit. That way you can, it kind of separates it. And then on the other side, I'm going to go over one other thing. Okay? This is called standard form. All right? Standard form is x plus or minus y, I'm just going to put a plus, equals some number. All right? And you can see that this second one right here is in standard form. All right? So you've got x plus y equals a number, standard form. All right? So now, let's go ahead and do this right here. What's it asking for? It's asking for the slope. Well, that's easy. If it's in y equals mx plus b, like this first one is, right here, well, all you have to do is look at the slope. Because that's what it's asking for. That's the slope. That's the y-intercept. If it's asking for the slope, well, yeah, of course the answer is 2/3. All right? Now, the second one, not so much. This is in standard form. So we actually need to put it in the slope-intercept form. Really easy. 3 steps. Step number 1, most important step. You have to take the x, move it to the other side, and change the sign. So again, take the x, move it to the other side, and change the sign. That's step number 1, the most important step to remember. Step number 2, really simple. Drop the y down and drop the number down. Obviously, the number you kind of got to move over a little bit to drop down, okay? But it goes behind the x, all right, every single time. So step 1, take the x, move it over, and change the sign. Step number 2, drop the y down, drop the number down. Step number 3, last one, is to divide across. All right, so we get y equals, make sure you reduce all fractions. -2/4 reduces to -1/2 x. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So there's our equation in y equals mx plus b. What is the slope? -1/2. This problem right here, real super simple, okay? It wants to know, what is the slope? Well, it's already in y equals mx plus b, so all you got to do is look at it. -7, that's the slope. All right? Right here, I know you're thinking the same thing. All you got to do is look at it. -5/10. Now, that is correct. However, that would get you a -1 on the test. Why? Because you have to reduce. So the answer is actually -1/2, because that is -5/10 reduced. Here we are here. We have an equation that's in standard form, x, y number. We need to put it in slope-intercept form. So step number 1, take the x, move it to the other side, and change the sign. The most important step. All right? Do not forget to change the sign when you move it over. Step number 2, drop the y down, drop the number down. Last step, divide across. So you get y equals, negative over negative is a positive, so you get 6/7x. And then here, 13 over 7, just keep it like that. So, and it's going to be a negative 13 over 7 because all we're doing is we're trying to identify the slope. What is the slope? 6 over 7. Last one. Kind of like a neon sign. There it is. We need to distribute. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. All right? Drop the left side down. Now, it's not quite in y equals mx plus b yet. Okay? There's one number that's throwing a kink in this, and it's the negative 4 on the left side. So what I need to do is I need to get rid of it. How I get rid of it? I add it to the other side. You cannot add it to the 2x because it does not have an x. You're going to add it to the 6 because it's just a number. All right? The y comes down. The x comes down. Negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. Now it's in slope-intercept form. What is the slope? The slope is right here. So positive 2 is your answer. Here is that section at a glance. All right, second page. So coming right here, all right? So what we've got is finding slope from 2 points. I'm going to make this super easy for you. You got this formula, okay? And actually, let me move it down a little bit so I have room. So you've got, or actually move it up, I mean. You've got y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So the y's are on top, the x's are on bottom. Now, if I wrote the setup right here, if I look at this formula and I just take out the x's and y's, it looks like that. That's kind of the slope setup, okay, if you will, because you're going to be plugging numbers in where those letters are. Now, looking at these first 2 points, it does not tell us specifically which one is technically the first point and which one is technically the second point. So I'm always going to make this point 2 and this point 1. Why am I going to do that? Because it makes for the easiest plug-in and the easiest math, all right? So really simple. This is how you should do every single one of these. The y's just drop straight down on top. Negative 16. And that is actually a negative 15. If it's negative, make sure you write in the negative with it. Okay? On the bottom, the x's just drop down on the bottom. So 19, and that is a negative 7. And now I'm going to erase this arrow because I need that space. Now it's just simple math. Negative 16 minus a negative, anytime you minus a negative, you're actually adding. So negative 16 plus 15 is negative 1. And then on the bottom, same thing. Anytime you minus a negative, you're actually adding. 19 plus 7 is 26. Your slope is negative 1 over 26. So here's the fast version of it, all right? So real simple. Take your y, drop it down. Take your y, drop it down. Take your x, drop it down. Take your x, drop it down. Real simple. 8 minus 16 is negative 8. 20 minus 9 is 11. There's your slope. Next problem. Here's your setup. And then real simple. The y's go on top, x's go on bottom. Drop the y down. Drop the y down. Drop the x down. Drop the other x down. Anytime you minus a negative, you're actually adding, so that's 11. Anytime you minus a negative, you're actually adding. Negative 4 plus 6 is 2. There is your slope, 11 over 2. And you cannot reduce that, so leave it like it is. All right, here's your setup. And you're going to notice, like, this gets tedious. You know, you're like, okay, Coach Baldwin, I think I kind of got this. Yeah, I hope so, because if you do it the same way every time, it's really hard to get it wrong unless you screw up the math, okay? So y's drop down on top. X's drop down on bottom. Remember, this is an X, that's a Y, that's an X, that's a Y, just making sure everybody knows. Y is on top, X is on bottom. All right? So 3 minus 3 is 0. 19 minus 20 is negative 1. 0 divided by anything is 0. So 0 is your slope. What type of line is a 0 slope? It is a horizontal line. Do not forget that. Okay? A 0 slope is a horizontal line. Flat, straight across. Last two problems. Y's drop down on top, so 0 and 15. X's drop down on bottom, 3, negative 11. 0 minus 15 is negative 15. Anytime you minus a negative, you're actually adding. So 3 plus 11 is 14. There's your answer, negative 15 over 14. Last one, same way to do it. Drop the y's down on top. Drop the x's down on bottom. 12 minus 25 is negative 13. 5 minus 18 is also negative 13. Negative over negative is a positive. 13 divided by 13 is 1. And there is finding slope from 2 points at a glance. Remember, you can always rewind this video if I'm going too fast. All right? Evaluate the expression. Okay, this is actually pretty simple. This is where you're taking these numbers that they give you and you're plugging them in for the letter that they give you. So anywhere where there's a letter, you want to go ahead and put a parenthesis in its place. Like so. Then it's real simple. Take the whatever letter that or whatever number equals the letter in this that I underlined, and then plug it in. So up here at the top in the directions, what does y equal? Well, it equals 3. Okay, right there. Okay, so we're going to plug in 3 here. What does x equal? X equals 5. And then what is r equal? R equals negative 7. Now that we've got everything plugged in, just go by the order of operations. Okay, parentheses, obviously you've just got a number in each one of them, so you can't do anything. There is no exponents, so multiplication or division. We have multiplication. We've got 2 things we can multiply. The first one is 2 times 5, which that is 10. The second one is negative 13 times negative 7. That is a positive 91. The only other thing that we have left is the 3. And since the 3 is not going to multiply by anything, we actually don't need the parenthesis now. Now you can just add them together. 3 plus 10 plus 91. The answer is 104. All right? This one right here. Same thing. Take out the letters. Put in a parenthesis in its place. Now, I will say this. This X on the bottom, that's the only thing on the bottom, so you don't technically need a parenthesis when you've only got one thing to plug in for and there's nothing else there. So we're just going to put a 5 down here because that's what X equals in our directions. All right? So now let's go back up to the top line. 4y. Y is 3, so let's plug in a 3. Negative okay? Or I'm sorry, minus, and right there, that would be a z. So z is negative 12. So I'm actually going to put in negative 12, like that, okay? Because that's what z is. It's negative 12. That's what I need to put in the parentheses. Now we go by order of operations. Multiplication comes first. And since I'm not doing anything on the bottom, I'm just going to recopy that 5. All right, so multiplication first. 4 times 3, that would be 12. Write everything else exactly the way that it looks. Now we've got addition, subtraction. Anytime you minus a negative, you're actually adding. So basically you've got 12 plus 1, which is 25, divided by 5. Your answer is 5. All right, last one. Square root. Same thing. Take out the letters, put parentheses in its place. Y in the directions equals 3, and R equals negative 7. So I'm going to plug in a 3 here and a negative 7 here. Now, when you have a radical, that's basically treated like a parenthesis. So we need to do that first. So 6 times 3 is 18. Now we actually need to take the square root of 18. If you do that in your calculator, all I want you to do is write down the first three letters. You should get 4.24. That should be the first 3 numbers that you get when you take the square root of 18. Now, what we're going to focus on is this third number right here. So, will a 4 round a 2 up, or will it keep it the same? Hopefully you answered in your head, it keeps it the same, because you can only round up if it's a 5. So, whenever we're dealing with decimals in this class, I only want you to put one place past the decimal. That third number is a rounding number, or it keeps it the same. In this case, it keeps it the same. So I want 4.2. All right? So drop everything else down, and actually, now that this is just a number, we obviously need to multiply the 13 and the negative 7. That would be negative 91. And now all we have left to do is add. 4.2 plus negative 91 is negative 86.8. All right. Graphing, okay, last 3 problems on here. So what we're doing, this is actually kind of the start of the first unit here. We're going to plot these equations on the graph. Now remember, this is the slope, this is the y-intercept. You're going to always, I didn't say sometimes, I didn't say every now and then, I said always. You are always going to first make sure that the equation is in slope-intercept form, which obviously right here it's y equals mx plus b. So you have a slope and you have a y-intercept, slope-intercept form. So we're good there. All right. Now, the second thing that you're always going to do is you're always going to plot that number first, no matter what. And guys, let's have some common sense, guys and gals, okay? It's called the y-intercept. So which axis do you think you're going to plot it on? You betcha, the y-axis, okay? So we're going to plot negative 4 on the y-axis, all right? Now, your slope, we're going to use that to plot 2 other points. So our slope is 4 over 3. Now, on top, you're either going to go up or down. Positive, if the number's positive, you're going to go up. If the number's negative, you're going to go down. The bottom number is always going to go to the right, no matter what. Okay? Now, I understand what some of you guys may be thinking. Well, Coach Baldwin, what if the bottom number's negative? All right, well, I've got a solution for that. So 3 different things. Negative 1/2, negative 1/2, negative 1/2. My first question to you is the number in each one of them 1/2? Yes. My second question is the negative sign in front of each of those 1/2s somewhere? Yes. The negative sign is in front of all 3 of them somewhere. So guys and gals, it does not matter. All 3 of these terms are negative 1/2. It does not matter where the negative sign is, okay? All 3 of them are the same thing. They're all 3 negative 1/2. So here's what I'm going to say. Always put the negative on the top. That way you can apply this rule right here. The bottom number, you'll never have to worry about any direction except going to the right if you apply the negative to the top. So I know you're like, well, Coach Baldwin, let me do this right here. So you're like, Coach Baldwin, so what happens if I get this for an answer? Real simple. Move it to the top. That's now your answer. Okay? Negative 1/2. Because remember, they're all the same thing. Okay? So now, obviously, in this answer, we don't have a negative on the bottom or the top. So we're going to go 4 over 3. So obviously, the 4 is positive, so we're going to go up. All right? And then always to the right on the bottom. So up 4 and right 3. And then up 4 again and right 3, meaning we can get that second dot on the graph. Once you got it, and I'm going to kind of cheat here with my little straight line drawer thing. Always connect the dots and draw your line. Okay, I will take off points if you do not connect the dots and draw a line. It does not have to be a perfectly straight line like I just drew, okay, with my little cheating straight line drawer, all right? But get it close. Just don't make it look janky, okay, meaning like with a bunch of wiggles and stuff in it. Try and get it as straight as you can. You don't have to be perfect, but get it as close as you can, all right? All right, next one. So, is it already in slope-intercept form? Y equals mx plus b. If you said yes, then you're correct. So that first part's already taken care of. We're good there. So now we're going to plot that number first. Okay? Always. All right? So negative 3, it's called the y-intercept, so we're going to plot it on the y-axis. Our slope. This time, remember, if it's a whole number, 1 is technically on the bottom. So our slope is negative 3 over 1. So we're going to go down 3 because it's negative. And remember, the bottom is always to the right, no matter what. All right? So we're going to go down 3, right 1, right here. All right? Now, if you try to do it again, you're going to go well off the graph. So instead of going down 3, right 1 again, we're actually going to go back to the y-intercept, and we're going to go backwards. So we're going to go up 3 from the y-intercept, and I'll kind of make marks and I'll erase them. So up 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go left 1 this time. So that should be where your dot is. And you see that it falls right in line with the other two. If it does not fall right in line, then you're wrong. And I didn't even draw. Let me put it in a different spot. There we go. This cheating straight line drawer thing, you got to put in the correct spot to make it work. All right, so there's your line. All right, last one. Now, this is the big one that you have to know how to do this semester. You have to know how to take a standard form equation, put it into slope-intercept form, meaning y equals mx plus b, and then graph it. You have to be able to do that. If you cannot do that, that will be a problem from here on out in every math class. All right? So right here, remember, the first step to putting a standard form equation into y equals mx plus b is the x. You take the x, move it to the other side, and change the sign. Do not forget to change the sign. Step number 2, drop the y down and drop the number down. Step number 3, the last step, divide all the way across. And I'm going to write the answer over here to the side. That way I got room and I'm not writing on my graph. So y equals negative over negative is a positive. What is technically in front of this x? You betcha, it's a 1. So what is the fraction? 1 over 2, or 1/2. So it's 1/2 x. And then again, we have negative over negative, which is a positive. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now we're in slope-intercept form. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to plot the y-intercept first. So positive 3. And then we're going to use the slope, which is 1 over 2. So we're going to go up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2. All you need is 3 dots. And then draw your line. Like so. And then there's all 3 of them. Like so. All right, so hopefully that helps everybody out. Okay, remember this is a participation grade. It does need to be turned in to me. All right,